I may be a bum, but I'm not dumb. It's time for a bum knowledge corner.
Gaston.
Well, not really. You see, today I'm going to be talking about a different individual, but it's in the same vein as the series of Disney doing something that they didn't mean to. Before, I showed that Gaston was not really a villain, that he didn't really that he was more of a tragic character, but now I am going to show you a villain that Disney never meant to ever create. um, now you might be wondering. Now, of course, you're probably wondering which character this is. Well, first, I'm going to have to talk about a little show called Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World was a 90s sitcom that ran for 7 seasons with 158 episodes, focusing on the life of one Corey Matthews and the characters around him, including Fihihine. Still, just focusing mostly on Corey Matthews and his close friends. Uh, and why am I talking about this? Well, that's because the hidden villain of the Disney franchise is Topanga Lawrence. Now, I know what you're thinking. Um, what? But she's so nice and sweet and lovable and everything else like that. Or there's a particular event that actually reframes everything about her. And but that doesn't come up until after this series and the new Girl Meets World series that came out, uh, which had 3 seasons and a surprising 72 episodes. Pretty good for 3 seasons. Um, this series follows the life of Corey's and Topanga's daughter, Riley, and how she navigates her life. It's not as good as Boy Meets World, and it's a little too close to iCarly, because we have the two characters, the one super nice character, the one kind of rough around the edges character or friend, and and the comedy is very similar. But before I talk about what happens in this show that um ultimately reframes Topanga as a villain, we're going to show that she was never as really as nice as, well, she was always nice, but she was never mm, as stable, I guess. I don't know. Um as we remember her to be. So here are some of the cracks. First off, we have these two scenes. This one, Topanga is saying that she is president of uh, uh was it World or the United States? I don't remember. But the biggest takeaway from this one, from the Toga one, is that she has enslaved all of mankind, or all men, into underground areas for breed stock. It's just so weird. And in the second picture, we have Topanga forcing forcing out Corey's first kiss, very aggressively too. And there's nothing he could have done because he was handcuffed to the lockers because they were doing some kind of protest thing. So young Topanga was already kind of aggressive. Then there's the haircut incident where where she tries to prove that looks don't really matter, but when she cuts her hair, she's like, "Oh, I kind of liked my hair. Whoops." And then there's a final one where um because it's kind of interesting. She goes from this flower child, free spirit type of individual, and then she becomes a overachiever out of like nowhere. But for some reason, no one ever questioned it. It's like they completely changed her personality from one season to the next, from one school to the next, and oddly enough, it wasn't jarring. I don't know how they did that because it's just like a massive shift. But then she goes to be an overachiever, and she like threatens Feeny to give her an additional A, so she would become valedictorian. And like, and he's just like, "Okay, don't hurt me. I'm, I'll give it to you. Just please spare my life." So those are the cracks that were already popping up on her before this in the original show. So let's look at what the actual incident was that happened. So here's a couple of YouTube links if you want to look it up. They'll probably also be in the description below to show this. This is a random girl. I didn't even bother to remember her name because she's just a random girl just for the plot. And these two YouTube links, we see that in this first picture, Riley is trying to make friends with this random girl because she just wants to make friends with everybody. She's basically a dog. Um, she's like, "Hi, how are you? I want to be friends." But this girl just refuses her. For some reason, in the description it says rudely. When you look up the description of this episode, it says that the girl rudely refuses her, but no, I'm pretty sure that's a normal reaction when a girl asks to be friends, you say no, and then she literally resets and momentarily forgot that she ever asked her to be friends to begin with, which is kind of weird. And at which point I would be like, yeah, I'm leaving now. Yeah. But Topanga takes an extreme exception to this and decides to send an audit at her family. At the end of the episode, they hear a newscast from the television, and it says, "And in local news, one Greenwich Village family has been found guilty of 4 counts of tax evasion. When asked to comment, they said they would have gone away with it, except their daughter chose to not like the wrong person at school." Of which afterwards, Riley would ask, "Oh, what did you do?" Now, this is all played for laughs and everything else like that, and the mom, and then Topanga goes and like, "Okay, let's change the subject. Who wants food? Yeah, ice cream, something. Yeah, anything." I don't know if she was surprised that they actually got caught for tax evasion or what. But the overall thing is that yes, she did it. Her entire family realized that she did it. The girl that she tried to make friends with realized that she did it, which would have made a great episode later on. Like, your mother destroyed my family just because I didn't like you. Now, here's the thing. Yes, she put an audit on them. Yes, they did happen to be criminals, but would have the minor inconvenience of an audit been enough for Topanga if they weren't criminals? How far would she have gone if that wasn't if she felt like that wasn't enough? Would she have done something more villainous? I don't know. Nobody knows. This is the thing about Topanga. Like, she is so sweet and innocent. There's even an episode where Riley has a inferiority complex because both Topanga and Corey, her parents, seem to be like these paragons of good. And everywhere she was going, she was like, oh, my parents are already here and they are already doing something great. And even the people around her are just like, darn, that must be tough to have parents that nice. It's just so stupid. Uh, but when Topanga feels slighted or wronged in some way, she does not hold back. She just like goes on full kill mode, and it is terrifying. Now, there is one other thing to bring up is that Topanga is also very overprotective. There's an episode where we find out that Riley is so sheltered from the world that she sees a picture of a sheared sheep and she thinks it's the most horrible thing anybody has ever done, even though that's what we breed sheep for. I would say Domingo has a fatal flaw, and that is the overprotectiveness of what she views as her perfect little world. If something threatens that in any way, she will destroy it. But yeah, so uh that's Disney's unintentional villain, because on top of everything else, she gets away with it. It's never brought up again in a later episode. It's she has no consequences for doing this. Her family doesn't look at her differently in any way. She basically committed the perfect crime by and everybody knows she did it. But nothing's going to happen. Nothing happens to her. That what makes it hers. That what makes this entire situation so terrifying, because nothing happens to her. She does kind of a horrible thing. Sure, the people again were criminals, but the daughter was not a criminal. The daughter seemed like a more or less well-adjusted little kid, and her life is now destroyed completely. She is not seen again after that episode, which means she probably fell out of school. Um, or they couldn't afford that school. I think it was a public school, though, or they were going to public school. So I'm not really certain on the mechanics of that in New York area, but she probably like changed schools because when your parents are criminals and go to jail, you tend to not want to be around people that know you anymore. But yeah, that's Disney's unintentional villain, and probably the scariest villain of them all, since there's nothing that happens. So yeah, that's my theory. I'm the car bum. Now get off of my corner.